Welcome back. Good stuff, making progress. This is gonna be my counter. You're in my counter right now. Actually, you'd be where the sink is. I have enough room under the cabinet for a shelf right here. Obviously, plenty of room. The thing is, I don't have the ability to put a full 1.5 inch piece across here because I would hit the water jug. But the water jug is below the top of this. I've been out here a couple days doing some interior woodworking and cutting some insulation, and I was forgetting where I had cut pieces and where I hadn't for the insulation, so I started marking on the walls all the squares, and it did not look like that many, but I stopped counting at 40. So there's more than 40 I have to cover here. That's not even including the ceiling, so I'm probably looking at 50 to 60 pieces of insulation, and I did not realize it was that much. So far I have a little over 10 pieces cut, so I'm maybe 20-25% done. But as I've explained in earlier videos, when I bust open a can of the foam adhesive, I try to use the whole can because it's a pain to clean, and if it goes bad, you got to throw the whole can out. So I'm trying to get a big group of them together of what I think will be at least one can's worth, if not all of them. It would be nice to get all of them cut out, but I have quite a bit of the camper filled up already with just the lower stuff. I'm working on everything below the knees right now. So it's gonna be a process. And one more thing, that's only the first layer of insulation. There's gonna be 2 layers on all of this. Granted, they will be bigger pieces of insulation that'll cover more than one section, but still, whew, that's a lot of insulation. This looks terrible. I don't want to be judged on it because I got probably $17 in product I'm trying to work out of this can here. And it's just not working. I take it back. It is working, it just doesn't look pretty. Now this piece I'm very proud of. Instead of doing 2 pieces here, since I knew there's going to be foam here, I just use a 1/2 inch by 1.5 inch piece, and then I cut a groove out there, and I can slide this one right into position. That is a nice fit. That can was coming out so slow, my camera died. So I got this side done. I'm gonna take you through doing this side, and then I'll show you it all together so you don't miss everything. All right, screw it good enough. We're in super ultra wide lens mode right now, so it probably looks a little funny, but we have our benches in. Obviously I need to finish this piece, but just imagine it's there for now. This will be seating here. I will have a cooler here, shelving here. Then on this, oh, I tripped. On this side, we'll have 1 seat here, then a counter from here over. The glue's still wet and everything, but I can sit right on it now. It's no creaking, no flexing. It's very strong. Very strong until it falls apart on me. Just those 2 pieces make it go from looking like a skeleton on the inside to actually having some shape and function. If you remember the first time I cut insulation, I did it very easily on the table saw, and I was disappointed that I bought this. Well, I just wanted to show you this. It's good for cutting angle pieces that I don't feel comfortable putting in the table saw, so I didn't waste the money. It does work well, but you have to burn a little bit over your cut because this stuff does shrink up as it melts and the blade is a bit wide, but I'm happy with it. I didn't waste the money. We put it to good use. I forgot to record this part, but I got the windows framed out here, and this one was just wide enough to put them on the edges there. Here, there you go. And this one is good, but this side, so I actually took the whole window and placed it up against there and looked for gaps, and there was some gaps up here and here, so obviously I wouldn't want to cut all the way around here, or I'd have a pinhole coming all the way through. So what I did is made a little shim, cut it on the 45s, it'll go right there. Then when I hold the window up, everything is sealed, no holes. I feel I have enough insulation that I can get through one whole can of the adhesive. I was gonna put them up piece by piece for more of a visual effect as I go, but there is so many pieces, I don't feel like digging and sorting through them as I need them. I'd rather just pull it, spray it, stick it, be done. I got through pretty much a can of this. This is Tremco Vulcum Pro Series, and this is a collapsing polyurethane foam, and I recommend never buying this. This is this is my third can. The first two I gave the benefit of the doubt because I had used it over separate occasions. I would use it a little bit, clean it, store it, and then use it again, and I always had to flip it upside down to get the rest out. But this one I started with a fresh can. I followed the instructions, and I don't know if you could see, but before I even got done with half a wall, it was just blowing air, and I had to tip it back over. I tried shaking it, I tried warming it up. So, make a better product, do better. You got $80, is 24. You got $60 out of me. I'm done buying your stuff. Makes it a pain in the ass. I told you guys how unsatisfied I was with the Tremco adhesive, so I'm trying some great stuff like single use instead of the stuff that needs the gun. And I was reading through the instructions on this, and it says to keep the can inverted when using. So maybe I missed that step with the Tremco stuff, and that's why I was having such a hard time. I unfortunately don't have a can to read now. I used them and threw them out, but next time I'm at Menards, I'll take a look and read it and see if that was my screw up. Anyways, you live and you learn. Let's get to it. Woo! The first layer of insulation is complete. From here, I'm gonna start on the electrical because I want the electrical wires to run between the first and second layer of insulation. I've thought about it a lot, and this would be the passenger side of my truck on the outside, and I want my pass-through connectors to come through here, but I wasn't sure how to block it off so I wouldn't see them. Since this has a 7-inch overhang, I'm going to build a box just to run flush here and then down to here. So it'll be from here out. And I'm going to try and keep my fuse block, solar charger, and then have all my light switches mounted over here so that they're easily accessible from the bed and from the camper side. That's my thought process. We'll see how it works out. It's very claustrophobic in here, and I'm doing a lot of in and out, so I'm not recording me working on this, but I'm boxing out my electrical section. So I'm gonna use 1/2-inch ply for this wall here. This wall will contain the light dimmer switch, the 12-volt USB, and my fan dimmer knob. I think it's a nice place where I can reach it from the bed or from the rest of the camper. And then to get access to all my electronics, I'm gonna put a piece of plywood here, but you'll have like the solar charger here, fuse block here, and then my 3 pass-throughs for the cords that are coming from the truck. And then I put magnets down here and up here and I'm hoping I can just magnet the cover on. I don't know how well it'll work, especially bouncing down the road. Worst case scenario, I just throw some nice trim screws in here that make it easily accessible and look nice, but I thought trying out the magnets would be a good change of pace here. Anyways, that's where I'm at. I'm gonna keep going. Here we are at the front lower portion of the camper. This will be where the passenger back seat is. Making my pass-through connectors. I'm always nervous about putting holes in the structure, but these shouldn't be too bad because the cab comes over here, so rain won't be an issue driving down the road or falling from the sky, but it always makes me nervous. I pre-drilled the holes from the inside where I want them, and now I'm gonna drill outside in so that I don't blow out any of the 1/4-inch ply coming through. Yeah. Okay, here we go. Time lapse. Time lapse. And there's our holes. I'll show you guys what it looks like when they're all installed. There we have it. We got our 120 volt shore power, our 12 volt power, and our inverter remote switch. All nice little waterproof connections, or at least weatherproof. They should keep most of it out. I'm surely gonna caulk around all these because I don't want no leaks. At first, I wasn't super excited about making 3 separate holes. So I did look into like 24 pin connectors just so I could do one big one and then wire it the same to the truck and plug it in. But I wasn't sure about the 120 volt and 12 volt, and then this is 6 pins on its own and they're very tiny wires. I did look into it, but I didn't feel confident with it, so I didn't go with it. So it sucks I have 3 more holes, but it's in a spot that shouldn't get too much water or snow. But just like with everything else on here, time will tell. I have the countertop here. My planer only does 12 or 13 inches, I think, and I needed almost 20 for the countertop, so I bought this piece of pine, like pre-finished, and then just cut holes in it for the sink outlet and USB charger. It's not the best quality, but I figure I can always replace it down the road. I'm not gonna glue it into the camper, I'm strictly gonna screw it, so if I ever wanna replace it down the line, or if these crack, I know it's really skinny right there, so I'm supporting it on each side of it in the camper, you'll see, but it's still a pretty skinny section. I decided to use butcher block oil so that it's a food safe surface when I'm done with it. And since I'm cheap, I'm just gonna go ahead and use the butcher block oil on this, the cabinet that I showed you I was building earlier, and maybe the benches and cab over bed surface. I got the counter temporarily set down. I think 1 coat of the butcher block oil looks good, and I don't have any 400 grit, so I don't want to do it again. I'm just trying to plot out where the sink drain is gonna go, so I have it set up there. Besides that, I can do the sink, the outlet, and my 12 volt charging, and then the insulation when it comes in will slide right behind here, so that shouldn't be an issue. I'm trying to line up my drain hole here, and I bought a flexible tube that's supposed to go on the bottom of this, but I'm pretty sure it's gonna hit my truck bed because this comes pretty close to the edge of the bed, and then this just barely goes over the edge of the outside of the bed. So inside of the bed, outside of the bed, and this is like dead in the middle. So I'm pretty sure it's gonna be right over the truck. So I'm gonna omit the flexible tube for now until I get it up in the truck to see where the hole is. That way I don't have to do a bunch of reconfiguring if it doesn't fit when I'm trying to put it in there. So I guess the camera wasn't recording. I think I turned it on and then hit record too fast. But either way, I got my hole drilled for the sink. can't see down inside the sink, but it's a bit cramped. I can barely see what I'm doing. Got our sink in there, and the drain does a straight shot through there. Comes out right about here. I can obviously cut this down. I could even cut it a little past flush, caulk it up, or I might leave a little on here until I can figure out if that flex tube will fit. I've started running some wire. All right, so it's a little late in the game, but I think I'm gonna try a new tactic of just showing you the progress I got done at the end of the day because it's really cramped to record in here. So here I have the cabinet stained and clear coated. The lights and the fan aren't hooked up, but the inverter and the USB are. Obviously I don't have the lights wired in yet, and I don't have the fan wired in yet or the hole cut. Besides that, I put this nice cedar lip where the mattress goes so the mattress doesn't slide off. I still need to hole fill that, or fill in the staples and then clear coat it. Over here I have my USB wired in and the outlet wired in. Very nice. I also drilled the hole for the water line, but I did not figure out a way to mount this yet. I might just end up using double-sided tape. The sink is glued down. I'm debating on running a bead of caulk along the outside. I have not decided yet. Down here, you can see the electrical. I still have to tie it up. And then this is for a switch for the overhead lights. I have the plumbing cut and caulked for the sink. And I have my water jug mounted. Now there's gonna be trim pieces covering this up so you won't see the screws there, but I had an old seatbelt from a project car I used to have, so I just used that, and that holds it in place. And then our hose just comes down through there, and it's gonna go into this cap here. I also boxed in this side. You can see I got a nice piece of plywood with some picture framing type wood going around it. I think that turned out real nice. Hey guys, welcome back. I did a bit of work without you. I scratched my camera lens guard. I had to order a new one, so I was waiting on that. While that was happening, I got the solar cable access holes drilled and the cover installed. I went real heavy on the goop because it was dried up and I had to cut quite a large bit of the tip off, and trying to get under and in between here sucked. I got the cables ran. Not too tight, but at least firmly held to the roof hopefully, and then this will close down on it. Trying to find my studs is kind of a pain, so I went inside and measured from the curve to this measurement and then drilled a hole so that this measurement lines up, and hopefully it goes well. So with this all secured, I'm gonna clip those long zip tie ends, and then we can set this down for the last time and button it up. Oh, it did rain. I put this on yesterday, and then it rained last night, and there's no leaks inside, so I got kind of a instant gratification for that one, instant testing. And now it'll be under this solar panel with even more protection, so that's good. All right, I drilled through and I hit wood both times, thankfully. That's 2 out of 4. Hopefully it's not crooked and one of them's off. But we'll find out. If we go a 1/4 inch down and hit foam, we're in trouble. All right, the other thing is I don't know how I'm gonna reach that side. I'm on the top step of my ladder. That's as tall as it goes. I'd have to take this off the truck, which is kind of a pain in the butt. I'm gonna see if I can reach around. I got an idea. I'm gonna flip this around so I can use the screen to see me. Here we go. I can see what you see. That's the middle hole, all right. That was wood. That's 4 for 4. Thank goodness. All right, I'm gonna come back up here and caulk it later. All right, guys, a bit of time has passed. Like I said, my camera lens was scratched, so I haven't been using the camera. So in that time, I got the solar installed, and then I started doing the final installation / canvas thing. So I got the door partially done here. I still gotta do the sides and maybe the top. It's a very thin piece up there. I don't know if I'm gonna do it or not. And then I have a couple of the easier wall pieces done. I think it looks really good. I also got the main ceiling pieces done. I actually did those first. That was the time lapse that you saw of me putting the canvas on the first time, because I wanted to get the lights in. I wanted to get the lights in, run the wiring, and then I could get it up there. I made little 3/8 inch slats to hold it up, and I think they turned out pretty good. I just have a temporary, well, I have the permanent switch down here, but it's just temporarily hooked up to turn the lights on and off. I have the 4 entrance, I guess you could call them main room lights on a switch, and then I have the bed lights on a dimmer, and then it clicks off. And that was down here. Just in case you have to get up in the middle of the night, you don't have to blind yourself or others with all 6 lights on at once. I have the mattress in. It's a 4-inch mattress with 3 inches of memory foam and 1 inch of gel. And there's blankets in here, and that is because we took this on a trial run for the 4th of July weekend. Just a quick overnight trip up at my mom's land, which if you've been watching the channel before, I did a video up there in the first truck camper setup I built with the fiberglass topper. We also got some cushions. I went ahead and bought these. I did not make them. With the extent of everything I'm doing with this project, it just seemed like too much, so we just bought some. I still have to figure out what we're gonna do for backrest here. The pillows were just holiday pillows to fit the mood. I got my sink mounted. I did end up just using double-sided tape, and it's held up so far. This is just on a little O-ring thing right there. I don't have the hose in right now, but it does run and work. And I think that's where I'm at. I haven't done this wall because the diesel heater and exhaust and intake fan will be mounted on the outside of this. So I know the bottom's gonna sit here, but I think I wanna put an additional piece for top bracing because it's kind of flimsy and it's gonna be quite a bit of weight on here. I still have to figure that out. I'm honestly procrastinating about it. But what I'm getting at with all of this is where I'm gonna end the video. It's a little bit more of a tedious process than I thought, and it's been a while since I posted. So this is where I'm at. I really wanted to have the whole thing done, but I don't. So thanks for watching, guys. I appreciate it. Sorry I couldn't get the whole interior done, but we made a lot of progress. I will see you again in part 7.